What is going on, everyone out there in the NBA world? I am Michael. This is CJ. We are MNC Hoops. We're bringing this back live to you on this next episode on Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, my time, whatever. I'll say that for you guys who may be listening to this on the podcast later this week. I'm ready to jump into some basketball, but I don't want to get too far ahead of me here because CJ, love you, man. I want to know how's your week been.
What's good, my brother? Yes, all is well. It's just running some 2K, chopping it up. We got 2K in the background.
Yes,
so
yes.
It's my weekend was good. My week was good since talking to you last Tuesday. Just grateful, man. Just grateful and doing the show, chopping it up. Gonna talk some hoops. A lot of things to talk about. We're getting about a month away from the playoffs, so it's that time. It's definitely that time.
It is here.
I'm excited. So,
well, let me tell you a little bit about my week since you asked and all. So my kids, I've got 3 kids total. 3 kids are playing basketball now, and their games are on Saturday. 1 kid is playing baseball, so it's going crazy for us here. And last Saturday was their very first game, and my son, he's like, "Dad, I'm going to have 32 points like KD does." I'm like, you know what? Let's score our first basket first because they're 3rd grade, so this is their first real trying to think, hey, this is little league and figure out things. I kid you not, CJ. This boy ran straight to the 3-point line every time and never came in. And I'm like, hey, go in, get a rebound, or go make a cut back there and just try to get a rebound or get an easy basket there. He's like, no, I'll make it a quarter 3. I'm like, no, you got to rebound. And I kid you not, afterwards, I talked to him and said, listen, why was you going for 3 so much? He goes, well, I wanted to make my first 3. I said, well, okay, I get that. I said, but you never went into rebound. You never did any of that. You played great defense. He said, yeah, I know, I had 17 steals. Well, you did. You did good. But I said, you could go in there and get some rebounds and help out with that. He goes, Dad, and I kid you not, this is quote, he said, Dad, this is not my job to rebound. I've got Carson, another boy, to do the rebound. He did his job because I told him I was going to the 3-point line. And literally 2 plays back to back, the boy got the rebound and threw an outlet pass out to Micah right at the 3-point line. He got it, shot it, he airballed it. And then, the very next play, he did it, perfectly. I said, oh, you told him to do that? It's yeah, that's his job to rebound and throw it out to me. He did his job. I'm like, you were in 3rd grade, man. What are you trying to do to get these people to say that they have their jobs and pass it out to you? But he loved it. He had a good time. So we're hoping we can get some points this next time, though.
Yeah, young leader. That's what it sounds like to me.
We hope so. But
that's what I heard. Definitely. Hey, get the rebound and push the rock. That increases Carson's IQ too.
So. And it was really great to watch him because – 2nd and 3rd grades, a lot of time it's head down, dribble around everyone, and just throw up something. Our team actually did pass the ball with each other a lot. I was like, that's actually pretty impressive. They kept their head up, to move the ball up. Granted, it was still chaotic, but it showed potential. So,
but it's going to take time.
Basketball dad here, and she's like, okay, son, do you want to try to be great? Because I can try to help, but if you don't, I'm not. I need to know. I say, be that guy.
I say. Me personally, I feel like you should just keep going with it. He's already getting the confidence. I want to knock down this 3. Want to get my first 3.
Yeah, and they put out a small goal.
Keep it going.
We shoot here. Our church has actually probably in our community here has the 2nd best gym in our whole county. So it's a great floor and everything. It don't have the capacity, but when we go up there and we shoot layups and stuff and shoot mid range and everything, he's like, Dad, I get made fun of at school because I can't shoot a 3. I'm like, listen, you're shooting in the correct way. This is the right form. I guarantee whoever's shooting it slings it up there. He goes, that's really how he shoots. I'm like, okay, that's not a shot. That is throwing it. You keep working on that, and we'll get the strength, and you're going to be better than that. So they put out the small goals for the Little League thing, and he's like, I'm pulling the 3s, Dad, because I can make it. I'm like, okay, I guess. We'll go with it. Of course, Papaw is supposed to be giving them $1 for every point they make. So he's going for those many points, I guess.
Hey, this is going to be exciting to see this journey.
Yep. But I'm going to throw this be our transition here. So my son, it was 0 for 3 from 3-point line. There's another guy who plays in the NBA that did some crazy things for a 3-point this season for his career. And, of course, we're going to go ahead and go to that topic as Steph Curry does become the ultimate 3-point shooter. 4,000 3-points made in his career, and he's not done. I mean, seriously, could we get to 5 before he's done? I don't know. That would be phenomenal if that was a feat. But longevity of his career, that would be amazing to think 5,000 threes. But I don't want to get too far ahead on that. CJ, what do you think this, for his legacy, makes for Steph Curry now?
$12,000 points from the 3. And it's one of one. It's lazy analysis if you say he ruined the game, in quotes. If you watch the way he plays, nothing about the way Steph plays is ruining the game. You don't become a 4-time. Yeah, you don't become a 4-time champion, accomplish what he's accomplished, and ruin the game. Now, his greatness, what it did was it made people think they could duplicate it to the level that he's doing it. Oh, if I just shoot a bunch of threes, that's the way you be successful. But the way Steph plays, he plays off the ball, unselfish. So everybody can benefit from his play. He's not a ball dominant basketball player. And his ability to get 4,000 3-pointers exemplifies that. You just look at Draymond. I mean, I don't know the amount of assists that Draymond has gotten from Steph, but I'm pretty sure it's, I'll say 85% of his assists. Or 80, 75, something like that. I think about Davidson when I was watching him at Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
Like around that 2009. Mm-hmm. This around this time, 2009. Perfect. And watching him play, like this from this school, Davidson, like who's this guy, Curry, taking him to the Elite 8. Watch it, saw he get drafted. I'd say one of the best drafts in the last 25 years. That 2009 class was pretty good.
Oh yeah,
pretty good class. And first couple years for Steph, it was difficult. He was battling ankle injuries. He was coming off the bench. There was still a lot of guard situation. Monte Ellis was there. There was still some guards there that things need to be figured out. Coaching that guy, Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson did a great job. Remember, Mark Jackson, the first thing he said about Steph and Clay, these are the 2 greatest shooters. This was before they even won any of the championships.
Yeah.
This was back when they were still learning and growing. They had lost to San Antonio a couple times in the first round, second round. They would beat the Clippers, but then lose to the Spurs. Real purists remember this. There's a lot of fake fans out here that don't remember that. Right? So that's real. They used to go battle against the Spurs and learn and grow. Mark Jackson just couldn't get over the hump and beat the Spurs. And they got Steve Kerr. They got Steve Kerr and they became dynastic. And that ultimately, like this just adds to his all-time legacy. I believe he's top 10 ever. He's one of the 10 greatest players I've ever seen. No doubt. I don't even listen for the OGs that watch this. Listen, that scene. If you watch this and you've seen Dr. J and Will, you still, you know what I mean? Salute to you. You've seen literally the entire evolution of the game of basketball. If you're still around those guys that's like Dr. J's age and Oscar Robertson, like those are true OGs that know the game of basketball. If you saw Wilt and things, I didn't see Wilt, right? And I'm not, and Wilt's numbers is different. And I feel like again in any era, how he played and what he was doing, he would have been successful. But there's just other for me, I feel like, and that's just one example. I But like Steph Curry is a top 10 player ever. It's not even to me. It's not a debate.
I mean, I'm going to agree with you, but I'm going to just kind of be hesitant on it because last time I made any kind of comments about a top 10, you hit me hard by saying, who's your top 10 then? And I was like, oh man, like to really put on paper who the 10 are, that's tough to do sometimes on whatever category. So I'm always hesitant to say any top 10s. But like, I mean, the three we know
is he better than KD all time?
I mean, with what he has that goes on as far as stats and everything, what he's done, I mean, you have to say yes. And that hurts me to say because KD, I think, is a really top-notch player. So, yes, he is.
I agree.
Better than KD.
Yes, I agree.
And especially as far as his leadership and what's went on, like 4 rings. KD got a ring because of Steph. Steph also got a ring because of KD. Like, it goes hand in hand in there. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, they were teammates, and it was necessary for both of them to excel, to become champions. They needed each other. But ultimately, KD still went to Steph's team. Steph had already won a championship prior to KD being there. Should have won Finals MVP. I don't know. It is what it is. That's just what it is. And the championship, this is what to me, the championship against the Celtics, for you to defeat the Celtics before they become what we see the Celtics today, which, I mean, I still feel like a lot of people would probably still pick the Celtics to win the championship. I mean, a good majority of people, despite from what we've seen from OKC and the Cavs, they were playing the best basketball ever, all time. They're playing all-time basketball right now. And I still feel like people would still pick the Celtics when healthy because of the experience, because of what they just did. Not going to be easy. But, I mean, all they see is Eastern Conference Finals minimum.
Yeah.
So that's just what it is. And for Steph to go in there, defeat that team before they really turn the corner, get the championship post KD being there, it's LeBron's championship in Cleveland is in a different category, just like Dirk's championship with the Mavericks against LeBron is in a distinct category because of how that playoff is, how he played in that playoffs, right? Steph Curry, that post cake, because people, again, there was discussions before he won that championship of KD, Steph. It was right. So that's why I ask you which one you would take all time, because there was that debate in terms of, I mean, ultimately, KD, yes, did go to Steph's team, as I said, but he did win Finals MVP both times, 2 out of 3 years. I mean, it's close. I would like KD just like on the out, like at 11, literally. It's very close. He's definitely in that category for me as well. But again, what Steph has been able to do his whole career, winning that 4th championship, getting that Finals MVP, something that they said that he hadn't done. I think he's the best point guard ever. I would draft him first as a point guard over Magic Johnson. It's not hyperbole. It's just if you watch this man play the last 16 years, how?
Yeah, and one thing that I think of too that I think kind of gets overlooked is what he's done at his size too. I mean, let's be honest, he's a scrawny guy, I mean, he's not really cut a bunch, looking muscular or anything. But of course, he's been able, because of his size, be, I guess, elusive on trying to stay with, or someone trying to stay with him and guard, through all the screens is what he keeps doing. And even, he's got great handles and can go into the lane and finish too with his small size. Granted, it's not the greatest. His shot is the best of what sticks out, but really, he's 6'2", I think. I mean, he's not very tall at all, I don't think.
6'3". I mean, he's tall in the real world in basketball terms. He's not tall. Right.
Yeah, he's taller than I am, but I mean, obviously, I'm not an NBA player. So, I mean, I feel like sometimes with his NBA size, that gets overlooked because, we had Jordan who dominated, who was 6'6", he could jump out of gym, and who was solid. You put him beside Steph, you're thinking, is this guy really an athlete? no disrespect to him, but he is obviously good. It's just he's undersized compared to most NBA players, and he's finessed it and been able to excel at what he does because he has changed the NBA. I'm not going to say he's changed it for the worse. I do think the analytics on what he's done has changed what they thought they could do, and no one has been able to mimic what the Warriors did with Steph. They try, but nothing has really been a success, in my opinion. Now, you got the Celtics who shoot a ton of three, but it's 1 through 5 that shoots those three. Like, this is really two guys that really were the dominant shooters from the three-point line. Everyone else knew their role. Like, everyone else is starting to, hey, whoever could shoot, just shoot it. So I don't think it'd ever be duplicated to be successful as the way Clay and Steph did it during their time now. But of course, back then in the, 16, 17, 18s. So, I mean, yeah, Steph is great. That's all you can say. I mean, he wins rings. He's broken records. It's like he's changed the game. So, I mean, to say top 10, I'm okay with it, but I'd hate to really try to say who my top 10 would be. And to draft him number 1 at point guard breaks my heart because I love Jason Kidd and what he does, but I'm a passing point guard, and that's just a fan favorite here. That's all that is. There's no guy that comes in at work. He actually thinks he has a Jason Kidd rookie card that he's going to try to look for to give to me, and I'm very excited about that.
No, that'd be crazy. So I have
Jason Kidd.
Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Magic, Bird, Kareem, Olajuwon, Duncan, Shaq, Steph Curry.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you this though, because you said that you would pick Steph over Magic. So how do you?
No, that wasn't an order. That wasn't like an order.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, that was just 10 there.
I mean, obviously, those are because some people don't think Shaq deserves to be in there, and I think that's crazy because I was hoping
Who said that?
Some people think that because of free throw around here anyway, some talks that we've had, he wasn't the best 3-point shooter. He was lazy on some of his work ethics is what we've heard, but I don't know how true that is. But I mean, the man was complete dominant at the post. I mean, he's in the game. All 5 people knew where Shaq was constantly with or without the ball because you had to help, you had to double team, you had to shift and everything. Like just him being on the court completely had a presence where the defense had to modify what they're doing because of just Shaq. That's why I think he's one of the top 10, just the dominance that he had on that.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah,
definitely top 10. I would chat. I mean, I feel like that's not even a. You say those 10 players. I don't really think you get a crazy reaction. I feel like those are definitely you could throw Oscar. I didn't say Oscar Robertson, KD,
right? That's one.
Allen Iverson, Kevin Garnett, Dirk. So there's a lot of excellent players that we've seen, through the course of time. But for me, what I've seen Steph do, definitely in top 10.
Fun fact, since we're kind of talking about some old players, I don't know if you knew this. I just found this out last week in an interview with Rick Pitino. Of course, used to coach at UK and, of course, Boston Celtics. Now he's at St. John's, I think, where I have them going to the Final Four. But he actually in an interview said when he went to college, I can't remember where he said he went to college at, but the reason they went there, him and his buddy, was because they wanted to play with Julius Erving. But when they were at the sophomore age where they could play with Dr. J went to the ABA and they didn't get to play. So I'm like, wow, Rick Pitino and Dr. J are very close in age. I never would have thought that. So that was just, it blew my mind to think that. Of course, he's 72. I didn't realize that Rick Pitino was 72 years old, still coaching. He doesn't look 72.
I think Dr. J went to UMass. I think.
Okay. That makes sense, I think. Because
Massachusetts.
Let's see here.
Dr. J is a legend. Yeah, NBA Streets, those type of games, those games put me on to those legends.
Oh, man.
It made me go back. NBA TV, they used to have the Hardwood Classics. They used to show the classic games. They used to show those 80s when the Sixers won the chip in the early 80s. He was just on a different level.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Steph is just, and it's just, can he get 5,000? I mean, that probably new. I mean, listen, I think it's possible if he plays until like he's about 40, 41.
Mhm.
Say he makes like 300 threes, around 200, like around there, maybe like in 4 or 5 seasons. That just depends on how long he wants to continue to play. He already has 25,000 points. Like once you reach that 25,000 mark, that puts you in a certain category. And this puts him in. He's in the only category. Like this is just his category.
Yeah.
So
Do you think this could ever be touched?
No.
Broken, if you will?
I don't believe so.
I don't either.
I don't believe so. I mean, you have to be locked in for 16 years. That's what it takes. So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. This is different.
I would agree with you on that.
Congratulations,
I mean, even
Steph,
a decade. Even a decade, I don't think someone's going to lock in that much. But let's go ahead and transition here because Steph has locked in for a decade or more. But this season, the Philadelphia 76ers are pretty much locked out of being in anything. And of course, with that being said, Paul George is out for the season. Is this going to be a one and done? I actually heard one podcast was talking about they were trying to grade the Paul George era in Philadelphia for this first year. What grade would you give it? And they didn't even hesitate to say it's an F. I mean, it's failure. Like this is supposed to be a contending team this year, and they're not even going to be in the play-in. So that was pretty harsh, but it's also real. Let's just say what it is. And, of course, on this graphic here from Shams, it says Philadelphia 76ers. Paul George received injections in the left abductor muscle in the left knee on Monday and has been rolled out for the rest of the season. ESPN, or a source tells ESPN, George is expected to be out for at least 6 weeks. Wow, so bad. Of course, with that being said, in our conversation that we've had, we've mentioned that, hey, Joel Embiid is out. Paul George, we're not going to really try to push you or anything. We're going to slowly have you setting out games back and forth to not overdo you and just keep you for next year anyways. So I really think that kind of goes into place with this. They know where their season is. Without Joel Embiid healthy, you're not going to make a big run on this. So I'm not really surprised that he's going to be out. It's almost let's lick our wounds and carry on for next season. Now, will they trade him? That's the question down here. Is he a one and done? To me, because of the injuries, you can say, okay, this was has an asterisk beside of a season. Like, okay, we got injuries that we had to battle with. Let's run this back. But I think after next year, no. But what do you think?
It's a disappointing season. There was a lot of expectations going into the season once they acquired Paul George. A lot of people thought that he was that missing piece next to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey that they weren't necessarily able to get from Tobias Harris at times in the playoffs. And it was just an injury-plagued season for the Philadelphia 76ers. All three players battled with injuries at the start of the season. And when you miss that many games as a collective, you haven't really played a lot of games together as a trio. People are in and out of the lineup. It's not even just those three. It's also the other two guys in the starting five. Like those guys also matter, at least if it's a team, right? The chemistry was never there. You have to get a certain amount of games and practices, mainly practices, film sessions. Those are things that did not occur because guys were in and out of the lineup. So a disappointing season. I'm a fan of running it back. I'm not a fan of just, it didn't work one season, let's just get rid of it. No, you still have a lot of talent on this team. I still believe Nick Nurse is a good coach, really good coach, championship head coach. It's just a matter of health. It's a matter of health from especially from Joel Embiid and Paul George too. Paul George has been battling for injuries over the last decade or so. right? So that's just being honest. And as you get older, those things don't go away. And so, prayers up to him. Hope everything works out for the Sixers offseason. They need to continue to improve the team, get some more shooters, re-sign Quentin Grimes. That's what they need to do. Quentin Grimes, special. He's, I believe he's going to be a really good player. Just like how we see the ascension of Reeves. We'll talk about Reeves later. I believe Quentin Grimes will make that same ascension. Saw it at Houston. I saw it with the Knicks. It just wasn't Tibbs. I got too many opinions on that, but Knicks let him go for Alec Burks and Bogdanovich. Two veteran guys, been around the league, but not future impactful players. Seattle Lakers, they were able to keep Reeves and still have Luka. So now, and then you see how Connect is playing. So you were still able to get superstars and still build up the young players that you had on the team, like Reeves, Hachimura too. He's not an old player. It's just that's what they have to do. They got to re-sign Grimes. They got to just get some more talent. So when guys are out, they could be able to fill in those gaps for certain games. Jared McCain, he started the season playing great. Had a couple, 20 plus point games in his rookie season. I believe he would have won Rookie of the Year. And you got the meniscus injury. You got Grimes, McCain, Maxey, George, Embiid. I don't know what you do with Drummond. I feel like you have to resign him just because of Embiid's health. I mean, you're praying you get 60 games. You're praying that's just like that's Christmas. It's just what it is. So they just need to continue to build around this team. Daryl Morey, I think he's on the hot seat. He got a lot of hype in Houston, but they never won a championship. And his style of basketball and what him and D'Antoni align with, yes, did it win a lot of games? Yes, did it create? And James Harden went into that system and became one of the greatest players of all time, 1,000,000%. Also got to add James Harden in that list as well. For sure, yes, but it did not win a championship.
Right.
So now we see him go to Philadelphia. They move Ben Simmons. Maxey emerges. You get Paul George. Things have to happen for Morey, Daryl Morey. I think Josh Harris is the owner, also owner of the Commanders. Clock is ticking. He could definitely get somebody else get someone else in there that could run the Philadelphia 76ers. So Daryl Morey has to go figure that out. Daryl Morey has to figure that out fast.
Of course, we got a comment. Thanks for joining back in from last week. Said and he knew that it wouldn't work with PG. He wanted an extra year, just not in Philly, just to have that extra year. So I agree in a way. I do think Magic, I'm not sure what you mean on that. Do you think Orlando might be a landing spot for him?
The Magic, I don't think the Magic need to make a move like that. They would have to give up assets and give up depth. I don't think Orlando would be the best spot. I'm a fan of just running back. What are you running from? Mm-hmm. You guys got hurt. It's not like they lost and got clapped and got swept. Like they just got hurt. They were injured. So you're just gonna
GM for Philly. I got you.
Oh, GM for Philly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yo, run this back, man. If you got some type of
Magic Johnson, that's who he's referring to.
If you got some type of pride, you run it back, and you're saying, listen, first off, talent wise, you look at the Eastern Conference, they're definitely top 5.
Right.
I mean, but again, talent means nothing if you don't put everything together and win games. So it has to be that second part. The second part is more important. And they just have to get some luck. They have to get some luck next year. If it's the same type of thing by the trade deadline, moves will be made.
I'm going to ask you this. I don't think it's really anything, but I just want to ask. Philly, they're done this year. Let's just say, hypothetically, the Clippers somehow won the NBA Finals this year, which I'm not saying that it's not possible, and James Harden got a ring before Philadelphia did. Do they change that mindset of, hey, we've got to win now and like maybe make some moves here, or do you think it's done set that injuries are it? We understand. Let's run this back.
Yeah, the James Harden like hypothetical, I can't because it's not. I don't think it's realistic. At least not this season. Anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you brought this team together. You had conversations of building the team together. This doesn't happen without George, Maxey, and Embiid having discussions of being on the same team. So like I'm saying, you're just gonna. It's no way. I don't believe they'll do that. And then for the Sixers, from a business perspective, it makes no sense to do that. And teams aren't really going to. Yeah, exactly. And the teams aren't really going to. They're gonna give up assets for Paul George, who only played 41 games this season. That's not a smart business move. Now we've seen some interesting business moves this season, nonetheless. But yeah, run it back, Philadelphia.
And I agree with you that there's no way this team got put together without them actually wanting to be the team. So the injuries are where their foes in this. I agree. I think running back is the only solution or what they should do on this. Let's see here. Let me bring this comment in real quick. I think teams sometimes overlook the importance of the chemistry. They don't let teams build that because they want to win now so much. So yeah, I do agree.
Microwave society. That's what it is. You cannot do that in professionals. Honestly, you can't do it in any industry, any walk of life. But in sports, it's definitely is. You need a team. It's a team aspect. You have to be out there. I completely agree.
Yeah. So another team we got to talk about here, and I say team. Let me back that up. Another topic we're going to go into is this team probably thought that they'd never have this player on their team this year, but of course we're getting into that. Is there possibly a return for the Brow? Of course, AD has been assigned to the Texas Legends. I'm sure he never thought that would happen, but with Kyrie out for the year, do they bring him back, or is this should be the same discussion that we just had with the 76ers here?
They're in the play-in, so I feel like it's up to AD. It's up to AD. Mm-hmm. Of course, ownership and the executives, they're gonna have their say as well, because when money's involved, everybody's gonna have a part and a voice.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, this is a really good sign. This is a really good sign if you're a Maverick fan. He easily could have just said, "Yeah, I'm gonna shut it down." Once obviously Kyrie getting hurt, tragic, unfortunate situation. It looks like he wants to come back. Wants to show Dallas fans that he's here. This is what he wants to do. I really believe that this could be a career altering, so in a positive way, for Anthony Davis in Dallas. I think he's really going to lock in. If even again, you got traded for Luka Doncic. Like that's what they're saying. Like you got traded for Luka Doncic. They try to play it like that. It's kind of like they try to make it terms a little bit disrespectful. Like don't get mad. But he's still one of the best players in the league. One of the most accomplished players in the league. And what he's been able to do, and I think in this new chapter, now you can be the number one guy and help Dallas go to the Western Conference Finals, go to an NBA Finals, win a championship with Kyrie when Kyrie comes back. But you have to start a foundation. And I think him coming back, I don't know what Lively's status is going to be. They were discussing the Mavericks might have to forfeit games because they didn't have enough players,
Yes.
which is crazy in professional sports in 2025. It's just one of those seasons. But again, they're still in the play-in because Phoenix they don't know what the definition of defense is. So they can't even salvage and get in the play-in because their defense is so bad. So we won't even see KD and Devin Booker in the playoffs this year. Incredible. And they can't even bypass Dallas, and Dallas has been completely injury plagued this whole season. Even Luka got hurt on Christmas Day.
Yep.
And Phoenix still can't get there. Right? So Dallas is gonna be in the play-in. So since they're gonna be in the play-in,
yeah.
Those playoff tickets, it's this money.
Yeah,
you're gonna show up. You're gonna show up to those playoff games for sure, and because everybody's gonna be watching for one of two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Mavs have enough to make the play-in, and maybe the playoffs. If AD could play how he could play. Yeah, definitely. I mean, what we saw in his debut in the first half.
Yeah,
24 blocks, steals, rebounds, assists. This is when we were having these discussions a few years ago about the up and down play in the playoffs, and I'm thinking, and then they'll have like a 33-20 game. I'm saying, why isn't this every game? The next game it's 12 and 16. I'm like, how? So this to me should unlock AD's career and put him in. He should be getting some MVPs. He should have
yes.
MVPs. Talent wise, he's right up there with Jokic and Giannis from a front court. He's the third top 3 front court player in the world for sure. And
yes.
He doesn't have
defense as well.
Doesn't have an MVP. So this you want to make this last stop be Dallas for your career, and if you're able to win MVPs, get a championship, Nico Harrison and those guys are obviously going to do everything possible to put you in a position to succeed, which is a good thing because they want to do well, and ultimately they said yes, we're going to take AD, and they want AD to do well. So you're going to put a good team around him, and they're not going to be crazy about that. And we'll see what happens. So him being assigned with the Texas Legends, I think is a great sign. He's starting to get healthy, and if he's able to get into the play and help them make the playoffs, they still have a lot of depth, even though the guys are out. But if guys are able to come back, I don't know the status of everybody right now, but you get a couple games in there before the playoffs, then the play-in occurs, or before the play-in, and then the playoffs occurs, we're able to win. Different narratives.
And that's really why I think this is more important that AD does come back now instead of like the Paul George was over there. Like the number one guy on that team is Joel Embiid. The number one guy on this team is Kyrie, but could be arguable that it's AD and that's why they traded for him. I think it's going to be AD moving forward. So I think it's a different perspective on that is you've got these fans in Dallas and the whole state of Texas that are still upset that you traded Luka to LA for this guy who isn't playing. And, there's always the conversation there that, season ticket holders were able to get refunds. Well, you bring back AD and he's actually completely healthy and able to play instead of shutting it down. You're showing these fans why you made that trade. And AD without Kyrie can even do more. And like you're saying, he is a MVP candidate year in, year out when he plays completely healthy. I even recall back last year at one point you said these last 10 days AD is the best player in the NBA at one point. And then after that he was hurt. It seems like he was gone for a year, it seems like. Obviously I'm exaggerating. So, I think this is really to help Dallas and to help AD because this is showing your fans this is his talent. This is why we took the chance on giving up Luka, the franchise, or even the face of the NBA possibly, for Anthony Davis paired up with Kyrie Irving. And if you could see him play well and keep the team relevant through the play-in and even win the play-in and get to the playoffs, if they make the playoffs because of Anthony Davis, everyone's like, okay, you give us Kyrie with this team and we're completely healthy, we can see what we can actually do here. So I feel like it's more or less showing why we made this trade for moving forward as well. Puts in here and says, but AD can't carry a team by himself. We say that we've seen that in New Orleans. I agree. That's been years ago, but he actually did put them in the playoffs on his back one year and played excellent. So it's a different team with this. And of course he needs Kyrie on this team. We do know this, but at least we can see the potential of what's going to go on here. I mean, without Kyrie on this team, with Clay as a shooter and other players that they could have as far as the shooter, it should open the paint up great for him to catch it at the elbow, maybe extend it a little bit and square up with everyone around the perimeter. It's basically a 4-out, get the ball to the mid-range for him and go to work because he's a better front-facing big. And, of course, there's no back to the goals anyways. So, I mean, he can catch it three. Obviously, he can even shoot the three. But, I mean, to give him his space to work and no one be in the way, it's going to be huge for Dallas moving forward. Of course, now next year this offense will be completely different. But I think KD going to work and saying, hey, I'm going to create and kick out. Because if you all know this, his junior year in high school, he was 5'11", running point guard. He grew, I think, to 6'8" his senior year, and they had to move him to the post. So this guy has handles. Like, he can do this. It's just, what is Dallas really going to work with this? So I think, honestly, it's basically – hey, we can still make a playoff push here, and if we can get AD healthy and still highlight what he is capable of doing for next year, it's great. And it's basically just trying to say, this is why we made the trade, and this is what we're looking for the future for us. That's my opinion.
Exactly. But you still also want to be very smart because you do have Kyrie out, probably won't be back until the after All-Star break of 26. So just –
that's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it could be earlier. You know, Kyrie's a generational athlete, so he definitely could come back earlier than that. Yeah, that was crazy.
And so, to me, really, this offseason, of course, I'm looking way far ahead, is Dallas is really a landing spot now for players who want to team up with this. Like, okay, Kyrie's going to be pick and rolling with AD. I just need to be a knockdown three and play some defense. Okay, I can do that. Not only that is you're playing defense with Anthony Davis, who can protect the paint well, and you're going to run him at the 4 with Lively and who else they have? I can never remember the other one.
Gotcha.
Yes. So, I mean, AD is going to be playing the 4, which we know he wants to do that. So you've got those two solid guys in the backcourt. You almost could consider them looking more like the Cleveland Cavaliers front court. I said backcourt, but front court as far as the height and the mobility that they have to go on this. So, yeah, I think this could be a free agency landing spot now looking forward.
Definitely. Absolutely. There's plenty of players in the league that definitely would want to play with Kyrie and Anthony Davis for sure. I
mean, if you get someone like a Bogdanovich who is a veteran that can knock down the 3 and play some defense as well and be that leader, like, it'd be a great fit for them. Of course, I think that's the Clay role, but I'm just throwing that out there, a name basically. I don't know who really is a free agent coming at the end of this year. That's way ahead of us. But, yeah.
They were talking about trying to get KD.
That would – I don't want that. I'll just be honest. I don't want that because you have to give up too much to get KD. Wherever he goes, they have no depth. And this is a Dallas team that looks like they have some depth moving forward once everyone's healthy. Of course, we're talking about them having the forfeit games, but their front court is pretty good with the rotation they can have with even PJ Washington in there with that. So, I mean, if you go for KD, you got to give up picks. And then you also got to give up when you didn't get very many picks in your trade with Luka there, which is crazy in itself. But who do you think they would want to part ways with on this team? Because
they're probably asking
Christie.
Yeah.
See, because I would want Lively and Christie or someone like that, someone that's still youth that's developing that you could really pair up with Devin Booker, you know?
Yeah, I feel like, but if KD leaves, Booker will probably leave. What would be the incentive of Booker staying? I mean, listen, he could be one of those guys.
You're right.
Like, KD with the Mavs would be crazy. KD AD screen action? How are you stopping that?
KD with Booker comes to Mavericks. I'm sorry.
They got Kyrie on the weak side, wide open because you have to completely collapse your defense.
Yeah.
PJ on the other corner. If they try to swing to Kyrie, it's Lively right there on the short roll. Lively right there for those easy lobs on the AD or KD short roll. Easy baskets for Lively. Easy baskets.
I'm going to say this, though. I think if KD did go to the Dallas, one player I think would have to go would be Clay. I don't know how that chemistry would be because you felt like there was a little bit of beef going on with that. Of course, the Golden State, we know what kind of happened there. So would Clay be okay with that situation? If he's not, if you can get KD, I'm sorry, Clay, you got to go.
No, the goal is to keep Clay.
So I don't know if that's even a really.
I don't even know why Phoenix would take Clay. That wouldn't make any sense.
I agree.
His where their timelines don't match.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they're pretty much rebuild, and Clay is ringing.
Yeah, that's why I feel like Christie. They definitely ask for Christie. See, if you would have had Grimes still, you probably could have moved Grimes. Because they traded for Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin again, probably.
Mm-hmm. Could you imagine a Jalen Brunson, Kyrie, and AD?
Nah,
I just had to throw that out there for you.
And probably 4 first round picks. That's what's going to be what's next.
Yeah,
that's what's going to take to get KD to Dallas. I mean, realistically, I really don't see that many teams that would try to make a run at him. How many teams are really going to try to make a run at KD? Dallas would definitely be one of them. They would need a 13. Yeah, they would definitely need a 13. I agree. Who that 13 would be is the $1 million question.
I'm trying to think, but at the moment I can't. But let's go ahead and switch over to the team that KD would be leaving if this happened. Will the Suns at the end of this season keep Bud as their coach for next season? That, to me, is really – there's just going to have to be a big meeting, I think, between a few meetings, players with coaches, players with front office with coach, to really determine what the future is. Because right now the Phoenix Suns are just a dumpster fire. I mean, they're garbage. So we don't even know what's next with them. Do they want to try to run this back with KD and Booker? I think that's not happening. KD is out. There's just too much going on, even on media, the interviews and everything, that KD is completely not happy. You can see that. Of course, we had the coach and KD have the moment. Of course, KD said that they're on that level where they can talk with each other. So I think if Booker and Kevin Durant are gone, I think Bud's gone too. Let's see here. NBA Central has a post here. It says the Phoenix Suns could fire Bud at the end of the offseason to appease Kevin Durant and Devin Booker.
Oh, that's a disaster.
Yeah. Wow. Of course, Shook saying KD is out the door for sure. But if this really is the conversation that's going on, is KD and Booker not liking Bud as the coach?
Yeah, I did see that clip with Budenholzer and KD. Yeah, and there was another one after that too. I think it was during the Laker game on Sunday. Those things happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good look because they're not having a great season.
No,
they're having an average season, and since that's what you're doing, everything's on the table. Everything's on the table. That's exactly what this is. We've already said, like I said, their defense. Just watching them play defense, they don't play inspired on defense. They don't get stops. And Beal, Booker, and KD are all out there, so there's no excuses. It'd be different if, like it was like Philadelphia, where guys were out, similar to what the Phoenix Suns season was last year, but they were still still had those guys out there, and they still got swept by the Timberwolves. Now this year you don't make the playoffs. In the last 5 years, KD has been swept in the first round twice. And now you missed the playoffs in those 5 years as well.
And what's crazy is I went to no trade clause.
No trade
clause. And shout out Washington and what he does with that. But Durant is making $51 million this year. Bill is making $50 million this year. Booker is making $49 million this year. And the reason why I bring that part up, obviously it's a lot of money, but like if it's in day-to-day work, like, business job, if someone is basically the leader, or in this case, like a full-time worker, and you're still not getting what you need out of them, you got to make a change somewhere with the full-time. You expect this from the part-time workers, not your full-time staff. So I'm just like, that's $150 million between you three guys, and we're not playing defense. Like, you need to either step up, or like, this is not working out as far as in a business world. Like, if I'm going to pay you this much, you're going to have some revenue coming back to me. So, I mean, it's tough from the front office on this too, to say that it's the Bud is to fall on this. Of course, Booker is the lifer. I don't see him leaving unless he asks. We agree with that part on it. We kind of talked about this last week quite a bit of, if KD leaves, why would Booker want to stay? So that's why I think they do with that. And let me bring in this comment before we go with you on Bud there. The Bill trade was the worst maybe ever, only because that no trade he has in his contract. And really, I don't know what needle they moved by getting Bill. I mean, he's not a defensive player. He's not really excelled at the two-way, but he's was wonderful in Washington, but there were no pressure really. It's just go ball and get a bag. So with that being said, what do you think is going to go on with the Suns? Are they going to keep him, or is he gone?
Yeah, I think time is up. But with Phoenix, this was about a 5-year project. Went to the finals, had some success here and there, won a bunch of games. In some seasons, we'd have 3 head coaches in 5 years.
That's crazy. 4
head coaches in 6 years: Monty Williams, Frank Vogel, and Mike Budenholzer. And you get rid of Mike Budenholzer, then you have 4 coaches in 6 years. That's dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other option other than to do a rebuild, get assets. Do you keep that same executive group in a rebuild? I don't know. If I'm an owner, I'm like, why would I? If you weren't able to build a team with elite talent, why would I trust you with young talent?
Yep.
So guys definitely might get packed up. Like I said, everything's on the table. Matt Ishbia, he's a new owner. He doesn't have really a lot of ties to any of these people. He's giving them an opportunity to see what they can do, and right now it's not looking great. It's not a good look on his investment. And you got some of the best players in the world, and you're not even making the playoffs. You're getting 0 playoff revenue as an owner. That hurts the most, because you're paying all these guys this much. The ROI is the playoff money. It's the playoff revenue of success and the TV deals, and when you get at least 4 games of KD and Booker and then playoffs, and they got the Suns uniform on. All of that money you don't have now, you're gonna get upset. And when you start to be like, man, like, what am I doing? I'm wasting money. I didn't waste money when I became a billionaire. So why am I doing it now on the team that I just bought? So guys are on the clock. Gonna have to figure that out.
So let's say they fire him, and somehow because of firing him, KD says, I'll stay. We've still got Booker and Bill. Who in the world would want to go and be the next head coach for the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah, that doesn't even to me, that doesn't even make any sense. You're gonna get rid of the head coach to appease Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Wait, didn't you do that the last 2 times?
And nothing changed?
So what, like 3rd time's a charm? So we're gonna go from what are we going from? Because we're going backwards. Like, go from playoffs to out of the playoffs. So what's that? I mean, this is the next step here. And as you said, no head coach in their sane mind would go after what we just saw here. Woodhoser just gets there, he gets let go. Why would you ever risk? Why would you ever go through all that amount of stress as a brand new head coach? If I'm Ishbia, I don't even do that anymore. I'm appeasing, trying to figure out what I need to do with my franchise. This was a franchise. Robert Sarver, was one of the worst owners by people's accord, in their opinions. Certain things that have come out, he wasn't a great owner, and they got rid of him. They put him to the side. Gave him his couple billies, and they get that's because that's what happens, right? These owners, they're terrible, and then they just sell the team for like $3 billion. So did they really lose? Like what did they really lose? So yeah, they pushed him out to the side. He's no longer in the NBA. And Matt Ishbia comes in, young guy, in his 40s, young billionaire owner buying the Suns. It's different. He's not going through this another head coach. Like I said, the next step is rebuild, like you said earlier.
And because really, you're thinking of job security. Like, do you want to change a job for a 1-year tenure? That's kind of going on here. Like, if someone was interested in it, it would have to be a college coach that's saying, "Hey, I want to touch the NBA and actually make this move and see what I can do with this." That wants any door that's open to get in the NBA. Other than that, I don't see it's like do you think like a Mike D'Antoni kind of person on this? A Frank Vogel? I just don't see anything like that happening. So I don't know if there's even another option. Now, I will say this. Bud, 5 years ago, was about out the door for Milwaukee, was on the hot seat for a couple years, wins the championship, of course, then already out, and now here. I don't want to say maybe he's at fault anyways on this, but I just don't know, and I guess I'm kind of going back to it, but I don't know who or how you could replace him, because obviously if they stay, whatever causes the friction between the coach and the players the past 2 years, you've got to figure out how to fix that void there, and I don't know if there is. It sounds like these players aren't going to be happy with whoever they have. If they're losing, if they're winning, it erases everything.
Yeah, it's a sad situation in Phoenix. This is going to happen, man. When you have every team isn't going to be as great as you think it's going to be. There are going to be teams that don't live up to the expectations, even though they have the names that we expect them to do so. And the Phoenix Suns are one of those teams this year. It's just what it is.
And a few years ago, Brooklyn Nets were also that team. There's a common denominator there, and I don't want to mention it, but, it's Kevin Durant. Let's go over to the East and talk about my other team that I care about, since, we just talked bad about the Phoenix Suns. So let's just go ahead and talk bad about the Miami Heat. Thanks, CJ. We know that you came up with these topics. Do the Miami Heat have a Pat Riley problem? And all those L's. I hate you so bad.
Yeah, eight in a row. They've lost 8 in a row. We're going to show a video here. This is from Theo Penson's podcast. But yeah, what's your thoughts on this graphic right here?
The fact that I could take a loss from Cleveland because it is what it is. Minnesota even. But the Bulls, that should be a win, in my opinion. Charlotte, that should be a win. Okay, I skipped the game. Clippers, toss up really if who we used to be. Celtics, okay, I'm fine with that. Memphis, they're playing great this year, but 125-91, that's a smack in the face. The Knicks, 116-95, that's a tough loss too, in my opinion. That's 21 points. These are not just losses, but losses to bad teams and then beat downs from other teams. But luckily, Miami Heat had a top 10 play last night. Woohoo! Let's try to have a moral win here. But nah, this is tough. This is a tough stretch that Miami has not been in a while. We've had bad players that play great in the system that still pans out for us for the year. So with us losing these, I don't even know if we're technically in the play-in anymore.
Yeah, 10th.
10th. Okay,
Yeah.
like that's tough. I don't like that at all.
So do the Miami Heat have a Pat Riley problem?
I don't want to say yes, but let's just talk about the facts. 3 years ago, Pat Riley fell asleep during the trade deadline. Nothing happened. This offseason, last offseason, Dame was coming to Miami. It didn't happen. This season, for some reason, we can't keep Jimmy Butler happy, and he demands a trade because he won't get traded, so he just doesn't play, and Pat Riley has the hissy fit back and forth between each other, and then Jimmy Butler leaves. I mean, I see your points, but I don't want to say yes because Pat Riley has put together some great teams in the past. But it's what you can do for me now, league. Don't make me say that Pat Riley's the problem. He's just sleepy.
I'm not going to say they have a Pat Riley problem. I just think this is just a phase for the Miami Heat right now. When you lose a great player like Jimmy Butler, and they never really had. And Bam is a great player, but he's not a like all NBA. And what he does, and so he's not averaging like 28, 9 and 7 next to Jimmy. Right. It wasn't like that. So when you lose Jimmy and everything that he brought to the team, doing the little things that people don't even really notice that lead to winning, when that's not there, and Wiggins has been in and out of the lineup. He's supposed to, fill in that void a little bit, sort of, match the athleticism, not the same player, but just be they would hope see glimpses of what all of us saw in the finals a few years ago when he was averaging 18 in the NBA finals and helping the Warriors win the championship. But we haven't seen that so far from Andrew Wiggins in Miami. Been hurt. Terry Rozier did not work. It did not work out. They tried to trade for Terry Rozier, tried to make a move. It hasn't worked out. He got some situations with the sports betting, or I don't know what's going on with that, but that's what that is. So Pat Riley hasn't made great moves. He hasn't made great moves. I always feel like he wasn't aggressive in terms of, and during those moments like the trade deadline, like how the Lakers are aggressive at the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. Rob Pelinka was aggressive and during those moments because he knew he had to make some type of move to help the team. Pat Riley kind of just stand pat in the offseason, kind of just stayed, never said anything. And you could say that's kind of an old school mindset. Mm-hmm. Because the guys you bring on the team, you expect them to just get better because you took a chance on them, and now given the opportunity, you want them to go out there and give everything. And I think they definitely have players like that on the team. But this is an adjustment period, and it's going to take time. And they're still going to be in the play-in because the East isn't as competitive as the Western Conference. And they're also young, and guys need to figure things out. There's a new hierarchy in terms of shots now. Is it Hero, Bam? They're obviously those are the two guys. Those are the two players that you automatically talk about now when you mention the Miami Heat. They've been teammates, and they've definitely have chemistry. But it's a different dynamic now because now the expectations are higher. Even though they're losing, the expectations are still higher for them. They're the players that were drafted by the Heat. So I think this offseason is going to be a major offseason for Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. And if we see them take that next step as a duo, I think that'll be fantastic for the Miami Heat because they're still very young. I mean, it's not like these guys are, and they've been to the finals twice, both players. Okay. Now, Hero, the first time it was, didn't really play that much because he was hurt. But, so they've had experience. They played playoff games.
Yeah, I mean, just even looking at
it's It's going to take some time. Like this schedule right here. If you would have told me they went 2-6, I would say yeah, definitely. And in these 8 games, this is you say the Bulls and the Hornets. I would have said those are probably the only 2 wins they would get, real objectively. But their defense hasn't been great. Charlotte was able to get one on them, and the Bulls, they're a tricky team. There are moments where they play really well, and then other moments it's like, what is this? So it's a new Miami Heat, and guys, it's just what it is. Right? Doesn't mean that's how it's going to be forever. But this is just what it is right now, and the player you hope the players that you have that are the core players and the young guys are willing to sacrifice and want to turn it around and bring it back to what it was. And it's easily they could definitely make it happen because they're young and they still have an excellent head coach. No excuses. No excuses. All right, so let's watch this video from Theo Pinson real fast. See what he had to say.
Like, man, you was their leader, bro. It's right, not fucking close. And quote me on this. The Miami Heat is worse. That is a worse trade than Dallas and the Lakers. Yeah, by far. Yeah. Dallas is just getting about empty.
I kind of agree with that.
The Heat are healthy. Look, Jimmy Butler was Heat culture. Yes. Regardless of what the fuck you thought he was doing off the court, that motherfucker brought a toughness. He brought a mentality. Leadership. He had leadership. Bro, I swear to God, it did not matter what seed the Miami Heat were. If they got in the playoffs, any team that played them,
you didn't want
they
to
had
see
to buckle the fuck up.
You didn't want to see
it.
it.
Be a dog fight.
All I'm gonna say is this: I
love
A Wiggs. I love A Wiggs.
Me too. This don't got nothing to do with A Wiggs.
But it's what I'm saying. But you can't replace.
It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do.
A Wiggs is a good basketball player, but he's
really
not
good
Jimmy.
basketball player.
He's not Jimmy. Jimmy's a dog. Jimmy gonna
That's
play
what I'm saying.
Jimmy gonna play defense. Jimmy gonna do whatever it takes to win.
He's a vocal leader.
He made all those other guys feel like they were Michael Jordan.
He held them accountable, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Like Tyler Hero, I bet you right now say, man, I miss Jimmy. Bam, I bet you would say, man, I miss Jimmy.
Bro, look.
Duncan.
But see, they're saying I miss Jimmy, but why can't they just build off what Jimmy created there? Why is that not a possibility? Why do you miss Jimmy? If that was the case, what are the reasons why? Because of the work ethic and holding everybody accountable. You can't that stops because one player left. I don't know. I mean, he was there for 5 years, and you saw the success that the team had. I would think you'd want to build off that. And again, with those young players, it's just going to take time. Like I said, it's going to take time. And I feel like Harrell and Bam have that mindset, have that mentality based on what I've seen, how they played in their young careers. And Khalil Ware, I think, is going to be a special player. He's going to continue to grow, get stronger. The U.S., we need him to be a great American center because the guys overseas they're getting taller and they're getting better. So we definitely need some great American centers. I think Khalil Ware could be one of those guys for sure. So this is a different process, but they already have pieces already in their process. And the coaching is there. And I still feel like it's a great destination. It's still Miami. Mm-hmm. It's still Miami, and if you have a player out there that still has the mindset and a similar mindset as Pat Riley, and the goal is to win championships, you want to change your legacy and change your career. It's still possible. It's still possible. But I'm in the notion of building with Hero and Bam.
Yeah, I think actually what they said really make great points. I never thought of it as being a worse trade compared to Luka being traded. But, I mean, they did get Anthony Davis, and you could see what they're trying to do with a big man and a guard, a duo basically there. Of course, the record that popped up, what was it? Golden State's 14-4 when Miami's 4-14, I think it was. Like, that speaks for itself. And we know that Andrew Wiggins with Golden State, his first year there, I think he was an all-star. I think he's the only all-star on the Warriors team. And then since then has kind of dwindled down as far as being a leader. So maybe Andrew Wiggins isn't stepping into that role as being that guy to help lead and continue to lead, because he should know what it takes to being with Steph Curry, being with Draymond, being with Clay a little bit. And then to come in at this, like, hey, we traded for you to be our leader. Of course, like you said, he's not been in all those games. But, man, as far as player production skills and what goes on, obviously Jimmy Butler's better, but, like, they're the same type of player. But maybe it's more of that leadership of what Jimmy Butler, like, hey, it doesn't matter. I'm going to score, or no, we're not losing. That these players can't buy into. If Tyler Hero says we're not losing, we're going to have a stop here, it's completely different than when Jimmy Butler says it. So, I guess that's really it. And I agree with you as far as it being a good landing destination for someone who wants to be the superstar on this team, because the pieces are really there. If they could get one or two guys to be that superstar player for this team, it's a great team still. They're just missing that super piece, And again, Tyler Hero's had a great year this year. He was an all-star. Bam obviously has that all-star capacity. It's just a different type of what he brings. He's more of a defensive big, but yet he does have some offense from what he brings. He's not a slash highlight reel that's going to do anything and score, but, through the offense that you run, you can get him back at points. Robinson, of course, is a knockdown and plays good defense. And then, of course, you talked about Khalil coming in. He's showing great perspective of what he can develop into. And then, of course, we've not even mentioned Jacques in this conversation, who is still learning the game. So, I mean, there's great pieces all around. It's just got to get together somehow. So, no, I don't think they're completely out. And even I was looking at the standings a second ago. They're still technically only 29 wins, which is crazy to be in the 10th place at 29 wins. But they're 5 ahead of Toronto right now at that 10th spot. So, I do think they're okay. Technically, if they win the next game and the Bulls lose, they're the 9th seed there. So, they're not too far moving forward either. So, if they can just figure this out, man, get back to the basics on this. Hey, let's fundamentally do our defense. Let's know our roles, what's going on. Bam, it's our anchor still. We can do our 2-3 that we want to do. It's just everyone has to move around. We need that person to step up and be another bucket with Tyler Hero and Bam, what's going on. Boom. How's that sound to you?
Sure.
What it really sounds like is Tyler and Bam are the 1 and 2 now. They need that third option to really step up and solidify themselves. And, of course, Andrew Wiggins was traded for that 1, 2, 3 option. We'll go with that. But since I mentioned third option, CJ, you know it's coming here. Who's the best third option in the world? And is it year 4 Austin Reeves? Of course, I know you're all about this guy. So what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's a good discussion. It's a good discussion. I think there's a lot of really good third options in the NBA right now that are excelling. Got Derek White, Evan Mobley. I mean, and you could probably say I believe Chet Holmgren is the second option for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Mm-hmm. If they want to have continued success and then if obviously their goal is to be dynastic, I believe Chet Holmgren has to be the second best player on the team. So Jalen Williams, great third option. Mm-hmm. But if you want to say for Jalen Williams in terms of him being a second option because he could create with the basketball and where Chet kind of still needs the basketball, I can see what you're talking about. I can see if you're coming from that perspective. from a scoring, I think he's definitely the best scoring third guy, no doubt. No doubt. Now, I saw Derek White score 40 the other night, knocked down 9 threes. So he could definitely turn it on if need be. But I don't really see anybody right now being the third guy, knowing you're not going to get the second or the first or second most shots on the team, and still go out there and play like you're number one. He just plays his game. It doesn't affect him. He's not rattled. It doesn't matter if Luka or LeBron's on the team. It doesn't matter if it's LeBron and AD. He's going to do what he does, and he's a playmaking scorer. He's one of the best playmaking scorers in the league. I mean, everything off the pick and roll, 6'5", the vision is there. Those skip passes they try to tag is just he can really do everything. There's nothing. His defense has been much better this year, I would say, in his fourth year. 26, him and Luka are right there. Luka turns 26. They're both the same age. They're already a fan of each other. They got a W. They got a W the last 2 nights without LeBron against Phoenix and San Antonio. Building blocks. That's your future backcourt. Reeves and Luka and Reeves. And that to me that's a dangerous backcourt. Because they both could get to their spots. They're never rattled. There's never a shot that they don't like. They could get to the free throw line. They make their teammates better. It's just defense with those two guys. If those guys are willing to make stops, it's going to be difficult to stop. So this is what we're going to see from the Lakers when LeBron retires. We're going to see this is the backcourt, and what we see right now is it's going to be unstoppable. And just think about what Dalton Connect is going to look like in his second year, third year. What Dalton Connect is going to look like in year 4. What does that look like? Because he already has confidence. He knocked down 7 threes against Utah early in the season at Crypto.com arena. He's cutting to the basket, catching lobs, doing 3-point sellies. Like his confidence is up there too. These guys, they prepare, they put a lot of work in. Reeves is at Wichita State, then he went to Oklahoma. I know he was willing to go undrafted, so he could kind of pick where he wanted to go. I think that was smart. That's extremely smart, because if you know you're going to be a second round pick or about to go undrafted anyway, just might as well tell teams, don't draft me. I'll bet on myself. I'll do these workouts. I'll do whatever I need to do to get to a certain team, and that's exactly what he did. That's literally what he did. And I think best scoring option. Best scoring third option for sure. He's averaging 25 and 5 with Luka and LeBron and Luka AD. When have we ever seen a Bosh, K Love? Who was the third option with the Lakers in 2020? Rondo, Kuzma.
I was going to say Monk, but I don't think Monk was there. It was Danny Green, maybe.
I don't think it was Danny Green. I think it was either Rondo or Kuzma. Laker fans will let me know. KCP here and there. So yeah, just all time for LeBron's career, like the third guy when it talks about trios. Just needs he was able to help LeBron win his 5th championship. We're having different discussions. That's what separates him from Rondo, Love, Bosh. Is the chip. And they have a great chance to go into the finals this year. They really do, especially if they once they get Hachimura back. They're going to be tough to stop. They're going to be difficult to stop. And Austin Reeves is a part of it. He's a dangerous player. We saw him excel in the playoffs too. So it's not like he's one of these guys where he's only playing well in the regular season, and then in the postseason, he's a different player. He takes his game to the same level. I would still put Derek White and Evan Mobley. Honestly, I can't even put Evan Mobley as a third option. I know Garland. Understand Garland in terms of creating with the basketball is the second guy in that, but when I think of second, third option, I mean third most important player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Second or third most important player on the team. And I think Evan Mobley, you could argue in terms of where the Cavs need to go, he could be the most important player on the team because of his size and what he's able to do. So I don't really consider Evan Mobley as a third option. Derek White, definitely. And then, whether you want to, again, same thing, like I said, with Chet, Jalen Williams. Mm-hmm. I'd say, yeah, Austin Reeves, definitely top two. Top two right now. Unstoppable. He's unguardable.
I'm going to say this, and I'm not dogging him at all, but AD missed quite a bit. Luka's missed a lot, and even LeBron's missed a few this year. So even in these 4 games that he's played on these, I don't think LeBron played. So I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy at all, but
that's good.
That does help because that third option is really being a 2 option on most of these games. I won't say most, but quite a few of these games. So I do like the player. I think he actually, instead of being like extremely talented, he's just extremely fundamental, and he knows what's going on and knows where to set up the guy, which obviously I'm saying that's a good thing. Don't think I'm bad-mouthing him on that. He makes the right passes, he makes the right read, and sets up where he needs to be, and it's great to watch, actually. Young kids watch how he plays and really learn the game by what he does. But, I'm just trying to think, like, technically, even the comment somebody put Tyler Hero, but obviously he's not the third option, but 3 weeks ago, he was the third option when Jimmy Butler was there, and he's a great scorer too. And of course, I think even Paul George, who's not having the great year, but technically he or Maxey is the third option on that team.
Maxey ain't no third. Maxey,
I know, but I'm just saying. Yes, in my opinion, obviously as a Kentucky, but I'm just saying, those are your 2 guys right now. Michael Porter Jr. I think deserves some love, but is it even Aaron Gordon on that? So I mean, there's a lot of players that could be that third option that may not have the the opportunity to be that 2 guy a lot this season as much as Austin Reeves has. And of course, when he's had the option, he's done well with it. So I don't want to say that he's the best, but I can totally see the argument for him being the best. I want to see him playing at that third option for the whole season with a healthy LeBron and a healthy Luka, and really see how he does on that. Now, I do think he gives up, or he is able to create like this and do all this, and it helps LeBron for his longevity of the game too. So he's having to step up a lot more on that, and I think it's beneficial for LeBron even for extending his career too. So yes, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not. I just want to see a 5th year of him at that third option, see how that goes. Because right now, if you had to draft a third option between Michael Porter Jr., I'm going to throw Aaron Gordon in there. We'll say, do you want to say Mobley's the third option or not?
Nah, I wouldn't say so.
Okay, so we'll say even Paul George in there. We'll say Tyler Hero as well. Who's other third options that are?
I mean, look OG and Bridges.
Yeah, I mean,
who
would you draft over him, or would you take him first?
Who would I draft over him? All of those names you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
You got Bradley Beal as a third option. I think he's playing better than Beal. Paul George. Right now, like I said, right now this season.
Season, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's consistently been a third option next to LeBron and AD as well.
Mm-hmm.
He was averaging
and
19.
Even Paul George.
He was averaging 19, 5, and 5 when LeBron and AD when it was LeBron and AD with the Lakers, and they were 5th in the West.
Right.
So, and then Luka gets there. People thought it would hurt him because he was kind of like the third guard because LeBron still plays guard. It's not affecting him at all. When LeBron is out there, he may not get 28, he gets 23.
Right.
And maybe a few more assists because LeBron is out there. So what you lose in points, you get back in the assists. that from the games I've seen, that's exactly what happens. I just watch the game. I mean, if you watch the games and you see how he plays like a number one guy. He does. Now I don't know, will he ever get the opportunity? That'll be up to him and whether he decides how he views it. If it was me, you just run it with Luka for the rest of your career. Why not? Why not? It just makes the most sense with his, or win a few championships and then when you want to go try to do it by yourself, put you in a different discussion. We'll see. That's down the road stuff. But right now, like I said, year 4, progressing, getting better. I think this guy is better than Hero. It's a good discussion. I think he's a better playmaker. It's close, but I believe Reeves is a better playmaker. He's a willing, better defender as well. Finishing around the rim. It's good. I mean, Hero was a first-time All-Star this year. I believe Reeves, at some point in his career, his ceiling is an All-Star as well. So it's a good comparison, a good discussion. They're both around the same age. I probably take Reeves. I'll go Reeves. And again, like I said, for OG and Bridges, OG Anunoby's a third option.
Mm-hmm.
If the Knicks want to have success, OG Anunoby has to be the third option. Now I know they traded 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, so that might say, hey, that guy, but he does play like that at times. But the reason why I say OG is the third option in New York is his athleticism. He's the best. He's the best athlete on the team. So with his shooting and his ability to cut to the basket, fast break points, finish, create, turn defensive stops into easy baskets for himself or his teammates. If he was able to just dribble and create off the dribble like Mikal Bridges, that's the difference. Like Mikal Bridges does do some of those things that OG does, but he's not catching a body on you. It's a layup. Or when he gets to the paint, Mikal Bridges does like a little fadeaway mid-range. He's not really dunking on anybody. He's not imposing his will. Those are impact momentum type plays. When you get a dunk or move like that could change the complexity of the game and of a series. And when I watch Mikal Bridges, he's more fundamental fadeaways. It's not above the rim type. So OG is definitely the third option. Like I said, I think it just speaks to the talent of the NBA and these teams and how great these teams are. That we're not just talking about the 2 guys. We're talking about we're pretty much going down the starting 5. And honestly, everybody, when you have a great team, everybody's playing well. So salute to AR, man. Salute to AR is playing great basketball. And I think what we see in the playoffs between LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, it's going to be incredible to watch, regardless of who they play in the first round and beyond. It's going to be crazy basketball. Must-see TV.
I'm still thankful for the Disney Plus game that we had between the Celtics and the Lakers. I got to watch most of that game, too, live and stayed up for it. But you mentioned OG and your Knicks a little bit. Let's go ahead and jump over here to our next topic then. Could they be first-round upsets? UD picks the Pistons as of right now over the Knicks.
I'm not going to even talk about second round. We're going to talk about first round. And first things first, this is championship expectations. You move you bring Cat in, you move Julius Randle, you move DiVincenzo. You make those moves. You sell your soul a little bit, Tibbs, because you're a defensive guy, but you bring in more offense. You do that because you want to win a championship. Now, I like those Thundercats out of Detroit. I'm looking at that matchup, and they're sharpening their swords, and they are waiting for this matchup. They are excited about this matchup. Cade Cunningham, Malik Beasley, those guys are ready for this matchup. Jalen Brunson coming in or not, that ankle's not going to be ready till the summertime. We all know that, so he is not going to be healthy. I'm looking at Detroit, and I'm saying this could be a first-round exit for New York. I'm not going to even talk about
I do think they match up well against each other, but this is your team. So I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to let you take over and tell me what your thoughts on this.
No, listen, it's a good It's interesting. It's interesting analysis. Watching the 3 games that we played against the Pistons this year, they do give us issues with their size, the shooting, their length. Kate Cunningham they don't have an answer for him. They don't have an answer for him. OG is gonna have to guard him, and heavy minutes. OG will have to guard Cade in the playoffs. But Kyle Bridges, he could. But Kyle Bridges' heart, they'll put different players on him at certain times, but predominantly OG would be the one at the point of the attack, especially with Mitchell Robinson back in the lineup. Now you have Mitch as the anchor. He's one of the best defensive centers in the league. Like, when he's out there. So now Cat could go. Now Cat's at the 4. We know his interior defense isn't great. Mm-hmm. Now OG doesn't have to play free safety on the back end. He could step up at the point of the attack. It makes our defense better. The defense has definitely been playing much better since Mitchell Robinson has come back. Mitchell Robinson didn't play in those games when we went up against the Detroit Pistons, and that makes a big difference with his ability to get offensive rebounds, finish at the rim at an efficient clip, even if it's 10 points. If it's 10 points on 80% shooting, that's a big difference. And he's coming off the bench, so those are bench points and the rebounds with the blocks. He had his best game yesterday against the Miami Heat. I'm expecting him to get more games together as he gets to the postseason. He really could be an X factor for us. I feel like if he goes out there locked in, remember how he played against the Cavs with Mobley and Allen were out there. He was babying them. Like, he was boxing out, getting offensive rebounds in Cleveland and New York. He was probably like the second best player in that series for us. And this is what Allen and Mobley all out there. Things changed. Of course, that was their original. That was them coming together as a team with Mitchell, but that was us with Brunson too. So I think Mitchell Robinson is going to make a difference. Isaiah Stewart, he's from New York, Rochester. He's going to try to do. We know who he's going to try to do. He's going to try to get Cat riled up, do his theatrics. I think it's a fun matchup. New York versus Detroit. I'm excited for it. I'm going Knicks in 6. I think the Pistons definitely have the talent. They could win 2 games. But again, we have a closer, Jalen Brunson. I just think we have more depth. We have better players. The X factor is always going to be Karl Anthony Towns, as long as he's wearing that Knicks uniform. Jalen Duren is young, talented. Karl Anthony Towns should dominate that matchup. He should dominate Isaiah Stewart. There should be zero comp when Cat's out there on the front court. He needs to dominate both of those players, and he has the talent. He definitely has the talent. He's able to do that. I believe that the Knicks will win that series, maybe 5, but I would give the Pistons 6 games, and they've been playing great. They've been having a hell of a season. So I disagree with Udonis Haslem. It's good talk. It's good entertainment. And it can make an interesting series because down the road, remember the Pistons, they don't have Jaden Ivey, they don't have their guy. So when they add Ivy back to the fold, they can run it back. We can see them again, and this is how you build what we used to see in these throwback Eastern Conference playoff matchups. And now you have a renaissance of that, and it brings more joy back to the city. That's what's going to boost the ratings. You got the Pistons and the Knicks. That's going to boost ratings when it's done the correct way. But all in all, man, I got, of course, I'll go with my squad always. I believe we're the better team, and we have the better coach. Yeah, we packed up Bickerstaff in 5 games when he was with the Cavs. So
true. My only thing is where I could see that UD is right on this or correct on this on making this prediction is Karl Anthony Towns unfortunately hasn't had a big surge in the playoffs where he pushes his team for it to have a deep run, in my opinion. He just the lack of leadership on that, or like, hey, I'm going to get a stop here or I'm going to get a bucket. Of course, I'm talking bad about a Kentucky player, so I'm being legit when I make that comment. So I could see that still being that thing with him if he needs to be averaging 28 every game this season or this matchup here to be that bully ball, basically. I don't know if he has it in him. But I'm going to also use that same argument to say this is the reason you got him, though, because of his talent, and this is his chance to say, hey, I can do that. So maybe he takes his past and say, no, it's not happening no more. This is it. And he shows up and balls out. Or maybe it's a common denominator of what's going on for whatever team he is on. We'll have to see which Karl Anthony Towns shows up. You could see it going either way for that. But hopefully the Knicks are here and it wins it within 5. I don't think it's a 4 sweep, but yes, hopefully they can do 5. 6 would be a great series for the first round for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it would have to be the former in terms of what you said. Which one would we like to see? It needs to be the first part, 1,000,000%. And the same exact thing I said about Anthony Davis being traded to the Mavs and how this could be a legacy defining move for his career.
Yes.
And how if he's able to shift his mindset and do something special there in Dallas, it's the same exact thing for Karl Anthony Towns in New York. It's the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. It is. You were drafted by the Timberwolves and they traded you. After you just went to the Western Conference Finals, what's your mindset for? Like, what is really your mindset? And he's had a great season, All-Star. I'm not a fan of the lack of aggressiveness against the elite teams. He fades. He just stands at the 3-point line. He just picks and pops. I do not like that. You're a center. You need to go out there and dominate. You do not need to just stand and fade at the 3-point line just because you're a good shooter. That does not matter to me. You're 6'11". But like I said, he's a great shooter. He could get hot, like he did. He had a burst yesterday. He scored 15 in a row. Special, right? 15 consecutive points. Like, okay. Like I said, in the playoffs against these elite teams, I need you to dominate. One easy baby hooks. I need you to get to the free throw line. You can knock down free throws. You need to get to the free throw line. If you're a center and you're only averaging like 5-6 free throw attempts, how? That's what guards do. Like, so do you want to be a front court player, or do you just want to be a tall guard? Do you want to be a power guard, or do you want to be a power forward or a power guard? That's really what it comes down to, ultimately. If you want to play like a power forward, you're going to have the success. It's just automatically. You play like an actual power forward, you will have success. Mm-hmm. You want to play like a power guard, you'll have success. But what does that what that ultimately means? Championships, deep playoff runs. I'm going with the power forward. And Mitch coming back puts him back in his natural position, like we saw in Minnesota when they acquired Rudy Gobert. And he's comfortable in that. And I feel like he's more of a scorer in that role, which is cool to me. But in the playoffs, we need to see it. New York, the city will be watching. He knows the expectations are there. To me, it looks like he wants to play in New York. I never got the vibe that he never wanted to play. He's playing well. It's just, hey, come playoff time. We got to step it up. The second round, Eastern Conference Finals if everybody's healthy.
It all lands in Karl Anthony Towns' lap.
Yeah, for sure.
Not just his first round, but the whole playoffs.
Yeah, we know what Brunson does in the playoffs already. We saw it. We saw it. Where Randall has his running mate. So it doesn't matter who's the second guy, third guy. He will do what he needs to do. If it's 30, 40, it will happen.
All right. I think that's got us done.
Yeah.
Do we want to go on the NBA setting or standings, or just call it a show?
So let's take a quick look at the standings.
Okay.
And talked about a few of these teams already here in the East. Pacers had a really good win against the Timberwolves yesterday. They got it was an entertaining game against the Bucks a few days ago. Halliburton hit a 4-point play, which led to them getting a win against Milwaukee. That back and forth, we talked about that back and forth over the last few years here on the show. That's only going to get better as we lead into a potential 4 or 5 matchup in the first round between those two teams.
Of course, Obi Toppin hitting a game-winning 3. Would you expect that?
Yeah. I mean, he's
Yes, he says.
it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. We knew that. Magic, I think the Magic, they might be starting to hit their stride. They're really battling with some injuries in the first half of the season. Paolo's back. He's back talking trash. They had a great win and snapped the Cavaliers' 16-game win streak in Cleveland. So Paolo, Franz, Jalen Suggs, also unfortunately he's out for the season, but they still have some players there. They still got their core guys. They still got their core 2 top players. So in that, you would expect at least, if they're both locked in, at least 2 games, at least in the first round. I don't know who they match up with.
Of course, they are 3 of 7. I think it's really just a big win for them over the Cavaliers at the moment. But my son and I, we were both amazed that Orlando beat Cavaliers when they're on that 60-game win streak. It was fun talks with us. Of course, the Bulls 6-4 right now. But the main thing that I see really going on in the East is that 8-game losing streak by Miami, which, of course, we talked quite a bit about. 1 of 9 of their last 10 as well. I mean, of course, Cavaliers, the 1 of 9 of their last 10, but really it's 16 of 1 of their last 17 games. So, I mean, obviously they're still firing on all cylinders.
Toronto,
I'm really surprised. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm really surprised the Hawks are staying at that 7th spot, really at that possible play-in, playoff spot there. I've really thought they would be falling off of this by now, but of course, like you said, Orlando's had injuries. Bulls trade away everyone they had. Miami now doesn't have a superstar to take over, so it looks like the Hawks will stay at this for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think the Hawks will stay right there. The Raptors, they're tanking. They could play some of these guys and try to make a push, but they're choosing not to. And then everybody else at the bottom is. It's not important. And then they got the Western Conference.
Rockets with 7 in a row.
Yeah, some shaking. We had questions about Houston. Can they finish? Were they able to finish? They're a young team. They had a rough patch in the season where they lost a few games and the inability to close late in the fourth quarter. And now they're starting to hit their stride at the right moment. About 20-something days away. Before the playoffs, now they're back into the second seed. This is going to be a race. This is a race for second, really, between Memphis, between Houston, Denver, LA, and Memphis. I'm not sure if Golden State can catch up to those other teams. I don't think so. I think they stay at 6, even though Minnesota is. They had a tough loss yesterday against the Pacers, but before that loss, I think they won like 8 or 9 in a row. So they're right there. So Golden State has to be on their P's and Q's for sure, even though they're also playing well. But I think for that second seed, I believe it's between those teams. These next 15 games is gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch, and that second seed is gonna matter because you get that if push comes to 7, if it goes to 7, you get that home game. You get that home game, you get that game 7 home game, and you get that game 1 home game. Those are probably the 2 loudest moments your home crowd is going to get during the season.
Oh, so definitely.
You need that. That's important, especially in this conference. It's very important.
Man, those Suns, my goodness.
And it's like they could, and it's saying Dallas is just so they still could get into playing.
It's how fast they're going to push AD back.
They're so good offensively and so good defensively. It's keeping them right there. That team is so crazy. Spurs and Trailblazers at 12. I think that's good. That's good look. That's a good look.
Mm-hmm.
That's a That's it's not playing. If you just think about where the Trailblazers have been over the last few years, like that's pretty good. Pelicans, like Zion got a poster, but they were down 30.
Oh,
they were down 30. So yeah, man, this Western Conference, pretty much these 10 teams. Well, no, I would say 7 teams.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota, they've really turned it around. They've really turned it around. Once Randall got back into the lineup, Anthony Edwards was really doing a great job scoring, getting guys involved, putting up 40, 35, going crazy for certain stretches during a couple games throughout the weeks. Randall comes back, they hit their stride. Their defense was something that they lost a little bit during the season, and now they've gotten back to that. And it's going to make them dangerous because they do have size, they have length. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Randall, Gobert, Edwards, McDaniel. Like, I mean, they have players that can make moves and defend. They're going to be difficult to stop. That's a tough first round matchup for any of those teams. Very, very difficult. Sure.
I still want to say I really like the Timberwolves' future too, because they're ready to win now. But I really think Rob Dillingham, as he gets minutes and as he grows, he's going to be a bucket in the league for a while. Defensively, a little bit of a liability, but he can learn, he can improve on that. So yeah, I think 3 or 4 more years down the road, man, this team's going to be very nice.
Yeah, I can see Dillingham like Peyton Pritchard. It could be like a
Yes.
Peyton Pritchard type. And then, if he continues to improve his game and get better to where you'd be like, hey, maybe this guy can be a starter, we'll see. But I think Peyton Pritchard is a good bar to set.
I agree. All right, guys, I think that wraps up our show. Thank you all for tuning in, staying with us this whole time. We've got 20 live with us right now on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm not sure which one, probably CJ's Twitter, to be honest with you. We appreciate all the likes, subscribes that we've got during this time. We'll be live with you guys again next Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. But before we get off here, CJ, where can people find you on social medias?
You can find me on X at cjames9_ IG, cj.james9, CJ versus the world on YouTube. Thank you, guys.
You can find me, MD Lawson00, on all social media platforms. Also got a second podcast will be tomorrow at 9 p.m. We're moving it back to 9 instead of the 8:30. Cats Chat, where we're talking everything Kentucky basketball, football, baseball, whatever you say. And, of course, we got March Madness coming up. We've got a gentleman who works for the Lexington News Company. He does the sports anchoring, and he's going to join us tomorrow to talk about the brackets and how far Kentucky can go. So Cats Chat on that. But, yeah, other than that, man, we appreciate you all tuning in. Go hit those subscribes and like buttons everywhere, notification bell. We appreciate it, and we'll see you all next week. And we'll see what's going on in the NBA or in the A, as CJ says. Listen, I've been here in the association. Like, okay, I got this. I'm cool. I'm getting here. All right. But until next week, guys, you all have a good one. We appreciate it.
See you guys next week. Take care.